This is DJ Rubbish
on the ones and twos. Not just come here to let y'all know it's about to get real filthy in this mother.
Alright, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Alright, so welcome to episode 24 of In Todd We Trust. We have, for the first time ever, a repeat guest, Darian Harris, aka who's turning into our superhero correspondent officially for the podcast. We are now launching, it's now available, a new home for In Todd We Trust, or an additional home I should say, website, itwtpodcast.com, where you can access not only links to the social pages, you can listen on Spotify and Apple Music, but also spoiler-free one-sentence reviews and movie ratings, if you want to check that out, episode descriptions and songs of the playlist of the song of the week, and movie soundtrack playlist with my favorite songs from the movies that we've been reviewing, and also, and most importantly, a submission form to become a guest on the show. I cannot guarantee you a spot, but if you want to roll the dice, feel free to fill that out. Again, you can obviously listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and watch on YouTube. Upload usually on Saturdays, sometimes a little bit earlier. So yeah, going with Darian. First of all, congrats on graduating with your master's from MSU.
Thank you.
This Friday. Round of applause. I don't have the sound effect, but just imagine it. So I saw that you finished the project, your final project for your master's, right before going to see this. So you had an incredible weekend last weekend.
I did, yeah. Weekend was great. Purposely wanted to get it done early. I'm usually a procrastinator when it comes to schoolwork, but I knew that obviously this weekend with Endgame, Game of Thrones, Battle of Winterfell, I knew there was a lot going on. The NFL draft. I mean, absolutely, there was just so many things going on this weekend that I wanted to have my full focus and attention on. School was not one of those things.
Yep.
So I wanted to make sure I got everything done early. I took a little bit of a social media break and hiatus, a little bit of a cleanse, which was really healthy for me. Somebody that loves social media and always is on it. So doing that for 3 weeks and then getting the schoolwork done and being able to now walk across the stage on Friday with the Masters is going to be pretty special, obviously, after an eventful weekend.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I can only imagine that feeling. I remember, I was not the greatest student, so definitely don't miss those days. Song of the week. Do you have a song of the week that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So I've been listening to, on repeat, Khalid's album, Free Spirit.
Yeah.
I love Intro off there, but I think my favorite song off that album is Paradise. I love that song. I listen to it pretty much every day.
Yep.
The whole album, honestly, is great. He's a phenomenal artist, but
Absolutely.
Paradise is my favorite song off that album. It's a daily listen for me, for sure.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, Khalid, I was mentioning before on the podcast that he's not one of my personal favorites, but he's one of those artists that I really respect.
Yeah.
One of his songs, Bad Luck, was actually my song of the week a couple weeks ago. But great voice. I'm actually considering getting a ticket to his show just because of how much I enjoy him as a talent.
Yeah.
Even though his actual songs, there's a couple artists like that for me. Like Eminem, I think is one guy who I don't like a lot of his songs, but I recognize his talent.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you just sit back in awe when he comes out with stuff. So you have to respect that. My song of the week is Apple Cider by Biba Doobie. Very to the left, but came across her. She had an EP that came out last year and then just recently dropped a new EP last weekend. She's a Filipino artist who grew up in the UK.
Okay.
Like I said, recently discovered her, and this track, Apple Cider, is off of, in my opinion, a standout track from her new EP. So go check that out if you want to listen. Next segment, new to the podcast since the last time you were on, random rapid fire questions.
All right.
So
I like this.
Hope you're ready.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
This is no prep for these.
No
I like
prep.
This.
Yeah.
Cool.
So first, best spot in the movie theater to sit.
Oh man, I love the top.
Okay. Yep.
I love the top. I don't like people behind me.
Middle or same thing. For me, middle or the aisle.
Honestly, I like the aisle.
Yep.
I like the top and I like the aisle. I like the leg room and I don't like people behind me.
Yep, I'm with you.
I mean, yeah, behind me. Yep, I don't like people behind me.
In general, for movies, I know obviously with this one it was an opening night one, but in general, opening night or $5 Tuesday.
I'm an opening night guy, especially for these. I gotta see things opening night. It's very rare that I wait till $5 Tuesday. Although I did see this for the second time on $5 Tuesday, so I did both with Endgame.
Yep, you definitely weren't alone. I saw that this movie is up in terms of second round viewing, 85% from the first or from Avengers: Infinity War. So that's crazy. They just keep shattering their own records.
Yep.
If between these two superpowers, which would you rather have? Flying, but only at 2 miles per hour, or super speed?
Got to be super speed.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure. I mean, Flash is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. Anyway, flying at 2 miles an hour, no. Super speed. For sure.
Speak to animals or breathe underwater?
Oh, I go with breathe underwater. I think. Yep.
Okay, nice. What would your superhero name be?
Oh man. Wow.
Got a really tough one for you after this.
Yep. I go with Lord Heem.
Lord Heem.
Yep.
Nice. If you could only save 2 people, who would they be?
Ooh.
Oh man, you can pass if you want to pass on that one. Don't want to piss anyone off.
Wow. I'll give you one though. I'll save my brother just because I was raised to always take care of my brother.
I'm with you.
That's the rule.
So that's a for sure.
Always
for
take
sure
care of
one.
your younger brother.
100%.
Second one would hurt some feelings, so I'm gonna leave it at that because that's how I was raised.
That's fair. That's fair. First thing that you would do if you got the Infinity Gauntlet?
Oh man. I would snap us back to the Alabama game so we can win that game and go win a national championship.
That's amazing. Oh man, that one or win that Notre Dame game.
I might do that. I might have to take it back to 2013 and go like shuffle the refs or something.
Right. Exactly. That's funny. First movie you saw in theaters, if you can remember.
Wow. I don't know if I remember the first movie I saw. The first PG-13 movie I saw, I remember that. That was Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
Nice.
And then the first R-rated movie I saw was Omen. So those are 2 I remember because those are like iconic moments.
Yeah, those are for sure. Both of those movies. Last movie you watched on Netflix?
Last actual movie. It had to be Bird Box.
Okay.
The actual movie. Nope. I lied. It was what's the movie Monday? What Happened to Monday? I watched it after Bird Box because everybody said, and we talked about it a little bit on the last time.
Yeah, you did. I gotta watch, and I forgot to watch it
because I'm such a show guy on Netflix. But I watched What Happened to Monday after everybody raved about it after Bird Box.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta still check that out. And then last one, if you had to rewatch the same movie for the rest of your life, you only had one movie to watch, what would it be?
Ooh, you know what? I think it would be Infinity War.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, nice. Not a bad pick. All right, so before we get into the movie review, something I was waiting to share on here. I tweeted about it a couple weeks ago, but I felt like it was only right to share it on the podcast for this episode. I had a dream about Brie Larson about a month ago, right? So I in the dream, I go to I get this special viewing premiere of Endgame. So I get in the theater. Who's sitting in there? Only person in the theater is Brie Larson. So we sit next to each other. We're hitting it off, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually hitting it off with Brie Larson. And then and I'm about to ask her hey, about to ask her out to dinner. Boom, wake up.
Of course.
And it was one of those just vivid, you knew it was a real dream. And I woke up and it was Sunday. I was out of commission the whole Sunday. I was so hurt. I never felt a heartbreak worse than not actually asking Brie Larson out on a date. So that hurt me. So a rule to everyone: do not watch Brie Larson films right before you go to bed. Right before I watched, I can't remember what the name of the movie is even, but with Brie Larson in it. It was a good movie, but I watched it right before I went to sleep, and don't do it again. Do not do it again. I've been holding off watching this other movie with her in it. That's on Netflix, Unicorn Store. I've been holding off watching it literally because I don't want that heartbreak again. So also shout out to all the guys I think we were talking about before. You said that obviously the draft along with a whole bunch of other things with the movie and Game of Thrones coming out. Shout out to all the guys who got drafted and also who went undrafted. Have I ever showed you my highlight tape? Have you ever seen?
Nah, man, I haven't.
It's
I
something.
haven't.
It's something. So in college, I made a highlight tape and sent it to MSU football.
Really?
So I did. They got a kick out of it, but it's gold. So maybe
I gotta
next
see
year.
that.
I didn't get picked up on the team this year. It's still some time, but maybe next season.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
All right, so I know we're gonna be talking about this a lot. It's a lot with this movie. It's a lot. I say that for a lot of movies, I feel like, but this one especially. There's like 22 films that led up to this one, so it's a lot. You know, when people are asking me about it, like someone asked me the other day, you know, what do I need to watch anyone's like? What do I need to watch like a movie before this? And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, I didn't even know what to say. Like, yeah, like everything. Like, yeah, you need to set apart like some months.
Yeah.
And to digest them too. Anyway, Avengers Endgame, description for it, if you can even describe it. After the devastating events of Avengers Infinity War, the universe is in ruins. With the help of the remaining allies, the Avengers assemble once more in order to undo Thanos' actions and restore order to the universe. The movie came out this past weekend, April 26th. Notable cast, so this is almost laughable. All the people that, and I'm sure I'm still missing names, but just to really take in, I'm going to read these off as obnoxious as it might seem because of how crazy it is how many of these stars were all in one room. And I know that who was it that got the video? Was it who got the video?
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
They got the video of all of them on set, and it was just like, yo, like this will never happen again. Robert Downey Jr., obviously, Iron Man. Chris Evans is Captain America. Mark Ruffalo in the movie. Also, Bruce Banner and Hulk. Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Scarlett Johansson, Natasha. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. Don Cheadle as War Machine. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Zoe Saldana as Gamora. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, and Anthony Mackie as Falcon. Again, sorry if I'm leaving off names. I 100% am leaving off names, but just take in like all those like big name actors and actresses that were in this film. Like this is crazy. And obviously not in even just this one with Marvel, but just like that budget for it. And obviously, I don't think they're gonna have a hard time with making that profit back. But insane. Directors for it: Anthony and Joe Russo, aka the Russo brothers. Who also did, as far as Marvel's concerned, Captain America Winter Soldier, classic, Captain America Civil War, which to me is basically another Avengers movie with all of them in it. You got Avengers Infinity War. And also, side note, they did Community, the TV series, some writing for Community. Not all the episodes, but a ton of them, which is one of my favorite shows that came on TV. So it went off after 6 seasons, but really funny show if you haven't seen it. Also has Donald Glover in it too, who also wrote and acted for the show. So, really good show. Writers for it: Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who also did the Narnia series, which was a good series. So, you had a ton of big names, and it paid off. We'll get into the review here, but just off of profit and what they made back, they definitely got that. $1.2 billion in 5 days, insane. It's crazy when a franchise is breaking its own records. Like that's just crazy, and they broke like one of the records that that Infinity War didn't have was who had it? It was Star Wars had it, and which Disney now owns too. So it was like, hey, all right, so they just beat their own other studio, whatever. Crazy. So before I go into it, I know we are obviously gonna have a lot of comments. I'd like to ask my guests if there's something that you have to get off your chest first about it. Initial comments or thoughts about the movie.
I thought it was a fantastic ending.
Yeah.
I saw it twice. I saw it last night in preparation for this podcast. I had to see it again to make sure I caught everything. I think that my initial thoughts is that it would be impossible to satisfy everybody, and that's just life. I think, and this is a great life lesson in that. I mean, people complained about Thor's character in it. People complained about Captain America at the end and how they sent him off and saying he's too much of a man of integrity to have done what he did at the end. Right. In terms of going back in and trying to live a life with Peggy Carter when she already had a family and stuff like that. So to me, it's a movie. It's a 3-hour film. Right. You can't fit everything in there.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. And I think that the way that they did it, the way they wrapped it up, they brought everything for first circle. Mm-hmm. It started with the first with Iron Man and ended with Iron Man. That's just was the perfect way to do it. I think, in my opinion, and I think it was legitimately a perfect way to end up a miraculous adventure in universe. I guess my other initial thoughts is I don't know where they go from here in terms of continue. I know it'll continue, but I don't know how it continues with this type of momentum.
No, yeah, it's and I had some notes about that, that I'll go on and share now. I had it for how they're going to continue it, and just looking at some of the movies that they have, or shows, I should say, that they have planned for, Disney Plus is launching to rival Netflix and obviously all the other streaming services, Netflix being the biggest, and Hulu as well. So a lot of these characters are getting spinoffs, if you want to call them spinoffs, or their own shows. And I guess they're going to try to ride the momentum, obviously, and the success from the movies to do that. But as far as, I get what you're saying, as far as like some of these other ones that still have plenty of movies left, like Black Panther, you're at least getting another 1-2 movies.
Right.
Definitely another one,
right.
But you might get 3 out of this one.
Yep.
Obviously, Spider-Man is just getting ramped up. So we have Far Away From Home, and there's going to be a third, I'd imagine. They have a third there. So you have a Guardians of the Galaxy, which they obviously hinted at, one with Thor being involved in, which I'm here for. So that there's still some franchises that still have some stuff to go. So yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how they do that. And obviously they all have had their own movies apart from the entire collective of the Avengers. But it is going to be like not the same. Like when I wait after the theaters, are we still going to have like end credit, like after the credits?
Right.
Like what is it leading towards now? So it is going to be interesting what they do there. I know what's already in the works. You have Falcon and Winter Soldier have a show that's coming out on Disney Plus for their first year, and this is just what they announced for their first year. I think there's going to be some other stuff probably as years go on, but first year alone, Falcon and Winter Soldier have a show called What If, featuring Peggy Carter, Captain's Girl, Scarlet Witch, and Vision. We saw that their love story kind of starting to take off. They're going to have their own show. Loki's going to have his own show on Disney Plus. Marvel's Hero Project, following the lives of several young people in real life who are making positive change in their community. So that's going to be a really cool doc, and kind of going along with like Stan Lee's, mission of each person being a superhero and using our differences, our differences and quirks being our superhero, or being our superpowers. I'm sorry. Marvel 616, taking a look at behind the scenes footage of Marvel creators, which I'm excited for that one too. And then Hawkeye, can't forget him. He's going to have his own series showing how he's passing the mantle on to his daughter. So they have a ton lined up here, which all of those I'm going to watch.
Yep, of course.
And it's going to carry off the momentum of obviously this film and the ones that came before it. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the other ones, though. But the other ones I mentioned, they still have movies lined up. I'm excited to see those movies too. So, going to the theater, I go in and I'm thinking, what is the atmosphere going to be like? Because Infinity War was like something I'd never seen before in terms of like the clapping, the crowd interaction. I had never seen anything like that before in a movie. People cheering, people standing up. I mean, it was crazy. So I'm expecting the same thing, and because it was somewhat of a somber, I don't want to say somber film, because it was an emotional film. It was very emotional. Definitely some like very like tearjerker moments. I did not cry. I will say that I did not cry. But yeah, no, definitely some tearjerker moments. I watched it in like whatever the top IMAX Atmos is what they call it, the Imagine Theater here in Detroit. That changed my life because like the sound, just everything was dope. The guy next to me did smell like a mixture of like Black and Milds and McDonald's, which I wasn't pumped up about that. But other than that, though, I mean, it was great. The crowd didn't really cheer until the end when they came back out with the last battle, where kind of like repeating the battle of the first Infinity War. The story and rollout, like, what did you think about how they did? I know you mentioned like how you felt like they did the best they could, and I agree. Usually with movies, a lot of times just naturally I'll sit and think, how could I have done a better job with this ending? Because obviously with shows, movies, that's always the thing where a lot of great, I'd say even classic shows and movies mess up is the ending, or at least have an ending that's super controversial, because it's always going to be that way.
Right.
You can't please everyone. You never can.
Exactly.
So I honestly don't know how else they could have wrapped it up nicely.
No, I think they wrapped it up well. Again, I think that going to see it a second time helped. in terms of seeing why they did things the way they did, why they focused so much on going back and get the stones, because they needed time to really capitalize on Tony getting to spend time with his dad, Cap going to see Peggy, obviously the Hulk and the Sorcerer Supreme's situation, the Battle of New York, seeing how that played out. It was cool to see what happened like after the scenes that we seen like when they had to go to the elevator and they sent Hulk down the stairs. Like that's stuff that's like realistic. It's like okay, after you have this like heroic moment, like what happens after? How do you get to the point where like they're pulling up to the Avengers fortress of solitude kind of situation, and Loki's there and Thor takes him? Like what happens in between that? So it was cool seeing that. And again, I think seeing it twice really helped with that. I did see a tweet that I totally agree with. I think that Endgame was a perfect way to wrap up this part of the universe, and really this universe as a whole. I think Infinity War as a movie was a better movie.
I agree with that. I did. I think I saw that from you, and I thought about it. With any opinion, I always sit back and any opinion on something I hadn't really put any thought into. I sit back and think, and I'm like, I would have to go back and watch.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I would agree. Infinity War was like, the twists and turns. With this, you kind of, it's the last one, so obviously you're like predicting of like how it's gonna go. And I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna go, but at the end, it's a Disney Marvel film, so it's gonna end good. So I know that they're gonna end up winning. You just don't know what casualties they're gonna be. You don't know exactly how are they gonna get back and beat them. So I feel like they had some really good like big moments. Like there were like a lot of pivotal, like I'd say like several pivotal moments. Like listing out the opening scene. They really, like I said, they really pulled at the heartstrings on this one and focused on making it not just not just a bunch of action and stuff like that, and giving people like, oh, they beat them up or whatever, but just really breaking down like how the human emotion, how would humans actually react in this situation, not just taking it like this is the superhero world and anything's possible. It's like, no, like really breaking it down, like the emotions behind it, like how do they act if you haven't seen your friends and family for 5 years. And Hawkeye opening scene when his family is lost, and just seeing like the spiral of depression that he went down. That was a huge pivotal moment in the movie. Was not expecting a Thanos death that quick, but again, how they did it was just, it's so clever how they did it, and not giving us just like what we expect, like the cookie cutter movie. That's not what we got. The new Asgard thing, that was funny. But it did for me just reinforce the Thor Aquaman comparison, because it made me think of that. Like they're by the ocean, they're like he's in this like fisher town. It made me think of that. I'm typically not a fan of time travel, but I thought it was, they did it well for this one, and it was a good like storytelling tool. But turning points for the movie, Thanos getting killed, that was a huge moment. Tony deciding to do the time travel, huge moment in his character, and showing like his integrity and like him putting everyone else before himself. Which it always is that battle of like he's a good guy, he's a real superhero, but also he's Tony. Like obviously he's very like self-absorbed in a lot of ways, but to see him like, okay, he's a father now, and like he's willing to put like the most important thing that he's ever cared about on the line, or not necessarily his daughter on the line, but his relationship, and knowing that like, hey, I might not make it back for the betterment of the entire universe. So that was a big moment. Nebula getting exposed, that was obviously a huge turning point for like for the bad side, right when the good is is looking like, all right, they got it in the bag. Nebula, her true identity getting exposed in the past. Black Widow dying, huge point that I feel like is getting overlooked now, like the social media stuff. For sure. And it was a death that, in my opinion, meant more than Tony's in terms of the sacrifice, because of the fact that Black Widow's she never had the chance to have it. I think Tony felt accomplished. Right. So it was, what, I'm dying, but I got to spend 5 good years with my daughter. She knows I love her. She'll remember me. I got to marry the love of my life. He got to accomplish some things. As far as like business and stuff, he's accomplished everything he could possibly do there. Being a superhero saving the world. Natasha, she's in the situation where, hey, I'm like just straight up committing suicide, and like I haven't had the I have no family. You all are my family. I haven't had the chance to have like a real life and love someone, and so she's giving up even like the possibility of a lot of that stuff. So I thought that like that hurt, like her dying, like, all of that hurt. His death hurt too, but her death, it kind of got overshadowed a bit.
Yeah, no,
Tony.
absolutely.
Especially as far as the fans are concerned, it definitely did. Hulk, getting the gauntlet, like him doing, his initial snap was huge. Obviously, getting everyone back so that when Thanos did come, and Thanos, when he blew that,
that was great. I agree with you that I'm not always a fan of time travel.
Yeah,
it almost seems like a cop out sometimes.
Yep, agreed.
But again, it's Marvel. The way that they handled time travel with this was perfect. It was perfectly executed to the point where it wasn't a cop out and things went wrong.
Yeah.
And obviously Thanos was able to flip it back on them and not time travel backward. He time traveled forward, and then there was no hesitation. That's what I like about Marvel. There's no hesitation
on site
with things. Everything exactly. It's on site. He's not looking for a speech and all this other stuff. It's on site. He came through. He let it fly, and so I appreciate that always because it makes it realistic.
It's crazy. And going through, I kind of want to, like I said, go through the big moments, and then I want to talk about, touch on each of the characters, right? Like, we'll start with Thanos because we're on him. One, he might creep into, not creep into, he's definitely firmly planted in my top 5 greatest supervillains.
Yeah.
Based on what I've seen, and, I'm not a dude who, read all the comics from, the last 100 years or anything like that. From what I've seen in the cinematic universe, not just Marvel, DC, but as I've grown up, he's definitely earned that. I mean, I had Magneto as probably one of the smoothest villains, but his composure, Thanos, even in losing, even when he was losing, he just sat down.
Right.
He just sat down. He wasn't groveling.
Right. He
wasn't pissed off. It was like, all right, I lost. As he just disintegrated.
Yep.
No freak. I mean, this dude was the most. This dude had a retirement plan.
Literally.
He snapped half the world and then went and was gardening. This dude was
eating
gardening.
Potatoes.
Just nothing. It had to be done. Aren't y'all and they catch him and he's just like, y'all should thank me. Even when he saw that he was gonna die, he was like, destiny fulfilled itself. He was the smoothest. He had the most composure. And I think that goes to Josh Brolin. Being able to play that role like that. But he is the smooth criminal. Not to be funny, but smoothest criminal ever. Crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that he did what you see in this new age of superhero movies where you start trying to see what point of view the villain was coming from.
Yeah.
Thanos wasn't. He even said it. He said in Les Battle Scene, he said nothing's ever been personal.
Yeah.
He said my conquest has not been personal until today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy destroying Earth because of you clowns.
Right.
But before that, nothing was ever personal. It was literally my mission is there's too many people and not enough resources.
Right.
I don't see any other way of going about this except you randomly get rid of half.
Yeah.
It wasn't I'm getting rid of this set of people,
no.
that set of people. I'm not taking this color people and that color. I'm randomly selecting half of the universe and getting rid of them so everybody can prosper with resources. And then he even figured out that the issue, which was you're going to get a large, obviously, chunk of people in that half of people that stays alive that doesn't realize the quote-unquote gift that they were given. They're only going to remember the bad. So he was like, okay, thank you for giving me an opportunity to see where I messed up. I need to wipe it all out and start over at the beginning so nobody remembers what I did. And everybody realizes that everybody just grows up in a better life. Right. So, I mean, it's like his thought process is back and makes you think, obviously, not to do that, but just to think he wasn't maliciously getting rid of people. It was literally because of his upbringing, he was in a situation where there wasn't enough resources and they got cast out. So he was like, how do I fix the universe? Right. You get rid of half of the people. Right. And it's not even systematically, it's randomly. It's random selection. Yep. Half the people are gone, everybody's cool, but for him to be able to see that through Nebula and then realize where he made a mistake, and even like you said, recognize it's my destiny. He was gonna die and he still went forward destiny fulfilled. Destiny fulfilled. Smoothest villain of all time. He gotta be. But yeah, him getting also I was floored that through all that is all the efforts that the Avengers went through. They still let this fool get the gauntlet again. Got the gauntlet again. It was, shoot. You already went through it once. And also, Thanos with or without stones was washing folks. He was getting folks out the paint.
What?
Now I know that Thor was a little overweight.
Yeah.
And Tony and Cap are 5 years older, so
Right,
you gotta
right.
and haven't been in battle for 5
Right.
years. So I'm factoring all those things into the equation. But without the stones, he was still
3 versus 1.
still sliding folks out of there.
What? I mean, the best they had 30 seconds maybe where it was like,
Yeah.
all right, y'all getting busy. Like when Cap got Thor's hammer.
Yeah, we got the hammer.
He got busy for like 30 seconds, and then it was like,
Right
no.
back.
I was like,
That was
yo,
crazy.
y'all can't. And
Yeah.
they approached him even. They were approaching him timidly, like,
Right.
y'all down,
Right,
y'all good, all right, if
exactly.
y'all down, I'm down.
Right.
He's sitting there,
Ready.
looking at
Yeah,
his fingers, and
ready.
I mean, he's. It's a trap. No, it's not a trap.
No,
You just don't care.
He just don't care. Doesn't care.
He didn't even go get the. He sent someone else, a lackey, to go get.
To go get the stones.
gauntlet.
I'm
I
gonna
was
wait.
like-
I said, this guy. I mean, you gotta give him credit.
The writing for that was
Gotta
just
give
great.
gotta give him credit.
So that was dope, and I think, like you said, that in this new age of seeing the villain's perspective, and also I think directors and writers wanting to, they're trying to, obviously with anything, whether it be a business or a movie, or you try to recreate what works. So what worked, and when we look at probably the greatest, what's touted as probably the greatest 3-part movie series,
Yeah.
being it for a superhero, is being the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yep.
So you look at that and it's like, okay, what did they do? Oh, they made they made the Joker the most likable character.
Right.
So they're trying to go off that a little
Absolutely.
bit.
I think so. Yep.
So I don't think that's happenstance. They're doing that, and it works. As long as I like seeing the good guy prevail. So as long as the good guy prevails, I'm cool with it being like a charismatic villain. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Thanos' character, Tony. Breaking down him. First of all, he was in space for what, 21, 22 days?
22 days. Yep.
He looked like he was on crack.
Yeah.
I was like,
It wasn't eating. Yeah.
dang, like
And they did a great job with that too.
They-
I mean,
yeah.
that made it realistic.
Yeah.
You're floating in space for 21 days. You ain't got no food. You got no water. You're barely sleeping. The oxygen's running out. I mean, that's real life. And then he had to come back from that real quick. I mean, like you said, you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
It went to, like you said, it went 5 years later, and you're coming back from that. He's retired, literally, cabin in the woods. He's not fighting anything. I mean,
No.
they're out of shape.
Yeah.
That's all it came down to. They're out of shape.
Crazy, man. His daughter. I didn't realize that. And I'm like, who is his daughter? Like, his daughter looked like Kourtney Kardashian's kid
Yeah.
too. I was
Yeah.
like, who does his daughter look like? Hulk. So at first I was like, yo, Hulk is a disappointment. When he's like, when they were talking about going to get that, he was like, oh, we're a little short-handed. I'm like, short-handed?
Right.
You're Hulk. You're
Yeah.
supposed to just be like, is the most on-site guy
Right.
at all of them. It's
Exactly.
just supposed to be brainless, like, let's go. I don't
Yep.
care. Hulk smash. That's all you know. I was at first I really hated hipster Hulk.
Yeah.
He just kind of became like this. He's chill. He's got a cardigan on. He's getting coffee. He's half Hulk, half Bruce
Yeah.
Banner. I appreciated it at the end though, because they kind of went the route. They almost made him like Beast from X-Men,
Yeah,
where he's like this
yeah,
really smart
yeah.
but he's really strong. Don't get it twisted. He can fight. But so I was cool with it at the end. It was they did some creative things, storytelling wise. The Thor thing. They mixed in a lot of I've criticized Marvel before, and I think I mentioned this to you before when we were reviewing Aquaman. How I hate how they make it. The comedic relief in every movie, and how I'm like sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
I think that they did a good job of mixing in a lot of aspects for this movie of it just being, being emotional.
Yeah.
So it's like it is the final one, right? Some suspense in there, some twists that you don't expect. I mean, right from jump with them killing Thanos.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anyone could have expected that.
Definitely not.
Seeing that, and adding in the humor.
Yeah.
So adding in the humor, you have Fat Thor, and you have you have him being like this like bum, and it's like, but really after something like that, after like that type of a turn, you see how real humans react for when you have these life altering moments. And some people try to forget it. You try to do the Tony. I'm gonna just go start something brand new and try to forget it. You have some people who are stuck on it, right? You have some people who never get past it. You have some people who wallow in it. You have some people who are continually trying to make it better. Captain America. He's somewhat in denial, but he is like, I am trying to actively get better. You have Natasha, who's holding on to what's left. So these are real reactions from real. These are how real people react. They're superheroes, but they're real people. Thor, having one of the most touching moments for me that hit me is when Thor went back in time. When Thor went back in time and and saw his mom.
Yeah.
On the day that she was gonna die.
Yep.
And I just kept thinking about that. Like, could you imagine?
Right.
Like going back and he's like, "Ma, to tell you something." She's like, "Don't tell me anything. Like, I can handle myself.
Right.
You know, whatever happens will happen." So that was like, how could you imagine losing your mom, going back, seeing her, just the flood of emotion that you have then, and then realizing that's the day that she's gonna die. That just, you know.
No, I think it was great, absolutely, and I think her you know, advice to him was great. Is that everybody fails at who they're supposed to be. You know, you gotta succeed at being who you are. I thought that was great advice.
It is good.
I thought it worked, and and you know what, I appreciated again. Like I'm with you. Time travel sometimes is a little bit of a cop out. If DC ever figures it out, obviously, you know, Flashpoint, that's going to be a huge part of that. So how they handle that.
Very
but
true.
What I enjoyed about this one was the people in question that needed to be spoken to or / avoided in the past.
Yeah.
They knew what was going on.
Right.
I appreciate that. Mom was like, I know you're from the future.
Right,
I know what's
exactly.
going on. Sorcerer Supreme was like, shoot, you're 5 years too early for
Right.
Doctor Strange. I said, oh, okay, she knows what's going on. Like,
Right.
I like when they understand what's going on and you can communicate with them like that, and it's not, you know, people being oblivious
Right.
to what's going on. I appreciate that, because I think that it makes it makes it more realistic. It
Right.
makes it more believable, and it doesn't make it as easy
Right.
as you just go back in time,
Yep.
grab these couple things, head on forward, and fix the situation. Like, it's not
100%.
that simple.
Yep, 100%. And like when, like Captain America, for instance, with him and Tony, like they, you know, when they were paired off, and they went back to get the stone, and Loki ends up taking
Yeah.
it. And they're like, okay, we gotta go back even further.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then that's like, okay, didn't expect that.
Yep.
Call on the audible. Let's figure it out. We can go back to this point when not only we can get it, but we can also get some more juice to get back to the future. So they just did it so nicely, and it all tied in together, allowing him to go back and see his father, and then also to that point of like people realizing what's going on when they see him. So Thor's mom being like an Asgardian god or whatever. Like, she's gonna understand, right? So Sorcerer Supreme, she's gonna understand.
And there's no need for surprise. There's no need
No.
for it. Just that makes it a lot smoother for me.
Yep.
Is when nobody's shocked and surprised. Everybody just goes with the flow.
They go with the flow. They know they're these high beings, so they know. But to that same point, at Captain America, he's gonna assume it's Loki, right? Like he didn't realize when he's fighting himself. That's realistic. He's not gonna be aware of like, oh, you're from the future. He's not gonna accept that. He's not gonna be tuned into that.
Right.
So that's realistic. So again, I don't think that all this stuff is by like chance. They just did like they picked random characters to interact with.
Sure.
Just the thought process behind that is impressive. You know, Red Sparrow, she looked rough when they and 5 years later.
Yeah.
Man, she dyed the hair. It wasn't a good look. It was a couple of hair changes. I wasn't a huge fan of Captain Marvel's.
That was a little. That auntie hair thing. I wasn't like, you gotta keep that hair long.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there. You know, touching on Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's hard to say this, especially in the world we're in now. I love Captain Marvel. I love Carol Danvers. I love Brie Larson. I love the character.
Yep.
It just didn't have the pop in this movie that I think it needed to for her to be the quintessential. She's going to carry the cinematic universe forward.
Right.
I am not sure that it wouldn't have been a better idea to wait for her movie to after this one and debut her in Endgame.
I
think that would have been better.
Kind of how like they debuted Spidey.
I think so. I think you do that. I think
you
got to debut her in this movie so people kind of know about her. They kind of know how strong she is. You get the after credit scene with Fury hitting the beeper. Right. So okay, it's like, okay, we know she's coming. It's like, when is she coming? Wait till this movie.
Yep.
Have her come through an Endgame and have her come through with. Now I know it'll put a little bit of a plot hole, an issue with who rescues Tony and Nebula from space.
Right.
So you can have her pop up in the beginning, I guess, but ideally have her come through at the end like that.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden the theater's like, oh, she's finally here. Oh, I forgot about her. Like somebody entered the upper atmosphere. Like, I completely forgot about Captain Marvel, and then you can go forward with her movie. I don't think having her backstory and origin story did her much justice for coming into this movie, because there was just so much going on in this movie that she got. I mean, I know it wasn't about her. The movie was about the original six. Right. They did a great job of that. It wasn't about Captain Marvel. It wasn't about Black Panther. It wasn't about Strange. They only got 5 minutes. Right. It was about the original six. But you got to have something to build on if she's going to be the one that's supposed to like carry the universe, which everybody seems to be saying. And I'm not sure that it had to pop, because that final scene with her coming through, like that's supposed to be a theater jumping scene, and nobody really cared.
No, it was just kind of like, oh, there's character.
Yeah, right.
Okay, cool. The biggest pop for me, at least in my theater experience, was when Black Panther, boom, T'Challa came through and they realized that, hey, guess what? We have our crew too. Yeah. That was the biggest pop and biggest reaction I heard from the theater the whole night. But and it was and also, you know, silence speaks a ton too.
Yep.
Dead silence when Cap died.
Yeah.
Cap, you can hear a pin drop.
Exactly.
So or during his funeral, I should say, more than anything. But yeah, no, Captain Marvel. I think that I agree. You know, I hadn't thought of it in those terms, but yeah, if they would have switched up the order a bit, I think it would have been bigger. I think that also to her scene with you know, the kind of the moment of all the women, all the female superheroes coming up, and you know, obviously it's like, okay, we get it, like, you know, this female empowerment movement that's going on, which is great. What I do criticize movies for doing, whether it be inclusion or just a theme in a movie, is when you smack me in the face with it. You can't be, when you force it, then that turns me off to it.
Right.
So I think that when it's more subtle, like, we get it. Like, without that scene, I am aware that Captain Marvel is the most powerful out of it.
Right.
That, I know it. Like, it's cool.
Right.
That's understood. So you don't have to reinforce it again with this really campy, slow motion.
Right.
All the women banding together, and it's like, we got this.
Right.
Like, we get it, Marvel, and it feels like you all added that, you know, and after the fact. Like, it doesn't feel like that was part of the plan 11 years ago.
Yep.
That feels like, and obviously I know that they didn't have the entire movie written out and filmed 11 years ago. Yes, but I feel like that was a forced add-in, and you know, I don't like that. But you know, and again, I feel like inclusion and female empowerment is huge. I just don't want it to be forced.
Right.
Because of how well written everything else was. So if you want to include that, do it. Take time on it.
Right.
Take the necessary time on it, as you did all the other stuff. You took the time on time travel, which is tricky in movies. You took the time on character arcs and you know, tying in a nice bow. So don't throw this in there as like an afterthought of like, you know what, this is gonna get them hyped too. Like this might be something that someone writes an article on. And it's like knowing it because we get it. We saw what you're trying to do. But yeah, I do agree with the Captain Marvel thing. You know, Hawkeye. Side note, made me realize that we need more. We need a resurgence in sword fighting movies.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? We need to. What happened to the? Like, I remember going with my dad and watching, like, you know, the old like karate movies, and they bring out the sword, or like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, is one of his favorites. I remember watching like some of that stuff. So I'm like, we need to get some more of that. Like, I'm down with that for sure. So if they need to, you know, they need to bring some of that back, in my opinion. Nebula, I was okay with her dying. I was okay if she ended up dying.
Yeah.
Like when she got stuck back in the past, I'm like, before Thanos figured out, just offer her out. Like, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with her going off. Ant-Man, you know, Paul Rudd's gonna Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
He's gonna be hilarious. I thought the scene with his daughter was great. That was another super touching.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, and I think Robert Downey Jr. would take the cake in this movie because it was a full circle movie, and it was gonna come back to him also as being original.
Absolutely.
But I think Paul Rudd's acting in this movie was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was he had an intricate role. Obviously, he's taking a character that's very difficult to make mainstream.
100%.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Like, what? Come on.
Yeah.
But the movies are great.
Yep.
When you finally get people to go watch them, like, no, y'all got to see these movies.
It's good.
And still, people have been like, do I got to see Ant-Man? To go like, yes. It's like the main point.
Yeah,
of
100%.
the movie. And then like, it just the scene where when he was let into the Avengers fortress and was like pacing back and forth, talking to himself. I'm like, yo, this is a great. Like, he is acting his tail off in this movie. Like, I just think he did a great job acting. And he is. Yeah, Paul Rudd. He's gonna be funny. He's playing a funny character, but. I thought his acting was great. It always has been. He's always been a great actor, but I thought that he really was able to shine in a room full of stars. Yeah. You know, in this movie, which was really good.
Yeah, I agree, and he like you said, just being able to they've done a great job, I think, with that taking superheroes that aren't necessarily, or I should say, in our generation, haven't been the most popular. And making them popular, you know, obviously, like, you know, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is arguably the best pairing for a role in an actor. Definitely for a superhero movie.
For sure.
I don't know if there's one better, even though, like I said, Dark Knight is amazing. Christian Bale did an amazing job. But, Batman's Batman.
Right.
He's one of top 3 most famous and most loved superheroes. So, you get someone who did a good job. He did a good job. But you're taking Iron Man, who, in our generation, if you would have asked pre-2008 favorite superhero, top 10 superheroes, mainstream, a lot of people aren't saying Iron Man. And now I see, Halloween, I see kids all the time, Iron Man.
Yeah.
I know a ton of little kids or, kids at church or, little cousins or love Iron Man. Iron Man. They have the Hawks. The Hawks. Obviously, Hawk is popular, but I think these help with Hawk as well.
For sure.
Because like some of these superhero movies and characters were maybe more popular. Like when my parents were growing up, like my mom watched like the Wonder Woman show, like as a kid, and now obviously Wonder Woman is making a resurgence as well. So I think that they, Marvel's doing a good job with that. Ant-Man, starting with Captain America, or not Captain America, Iron Man, but then even Captain America, taking some of these superheroes who don't have like the coolest of powers, like what I mean, like whereas some superheroes they can't get it right, and like a Superman, where he has every power in the world, but they can't get the movie right. But you have like a Captain America who really is just noble and has super strength. That's essentially he has super strength, and he makes it. They make entertaining films with him. So I think they did a great job. Again, wrapping it up at the end, I think they did a phenomenal job with, again, Robert Downey Jr. Because Iron Man, to me, I know Iron Man has creeped up to be either one of your favorite or one of your favorites. You're saying,
sure. Yeah.
Iron Man still to me is like, oh, he's a whack superhero, but like I can. But at the same time, I mean, I love him I love him in the movies. But like, if I think about like my top superheroes, I'm like, Iron Man is like he's just in a suit and he's just like rich. But, he's like Marvel's version of Batman in a lot of ways, not skill set wise, but as far as just being like rich billionaire playboy, who uses money to get and is super smart. But yeah, so they, again, I love him. I love Robert Downey Jr. even before the film. But I think they did a great job. I think possible spinoffs I'd like to see outside the ones that I already told you are coming. A Thanos gardening and cooking show. I think we need a Thanos.
That'll be funny.
A Thanos gardening and cooking show. They already hinted at as Guardians of the Galaxy. Which they're gonna do for sure. They might not name it that, but Thor's gonna be that next. And I'm gonna be. It's gonna be hilarious. And I think when they've stapled that as being like, this is gonna be comedy, right? Like it's a superhero movie second, it's comedy first, right? Which I'm cool with. Which they also kind of do with Ant-Man as well. Ant-Man has a lot of stuff that moves the plot as far as like, the whole Avengers theme, move the plot forward more. But definitely comedy first. War Machine and Falcon, like I said, they already have a Winter Soldier Falcon thing in the works, but a War Machine and Falcon, I would not be surprised if they end up doing that as the new like Iron Man and Captain America replacements. Capitalizing, I think, again, because of how big it is for inclusion right now, to minorities, kind of taking the torch was passed on to them, in this movie, so to speak. So I'm sure that they'll do something with that as well. What did you think about Falcon kind of becoming, there's that talk now, is he now the new Captain America, or is he just Falcon with a shield? Right. And I don't know, they didn't specify, so I guess we'll see, since they have stuff in the works, but how did you feel about it?
I felt good about it. I mean, that's where it kind of is in the comics now, is the Falcon took over the Captain America mantle. I think we could see a situation where they do the Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or excuse me, the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, and kind of, end it with him finally becoming Captain America or something like that, where he's still Falcon for a long time, and then because he doesn't want to pick up the shield and doesn't think it's his, and then finally he puts it on. So I could see something like that. I was cool with it. I think it was a great way to pass on the shield and the torch, and I knew it was going to be Falcon at the end of the day that picked up the mantle. I don't think they jump right into it and make another Captain America movie with Anthony Mackie as Captain America. I think it's going to take a while, if ever. I don't even think they'd ever do that, really.
No, I think that's why they went with the show. I would be shocked.
Right, I don't see them doing a Captain America movie with Anthony Mackie as Captain America. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just going to be strange, no pun intended, to see where they go from this. Like, what do they do with Doctor Strange? Like, I know he's got obviously another movie that they got to do, and Black Panther's probably going to have 2 movies, do the trilogy. I know Spider-Man's going to have 2 more probably. Marvel just got started.
Yeah.
You know, and then who else do you bring in? You know, do you continue with the Guardians of the Galaxy? Do you bring in, you know, I think they had cast like Angelina Jolie for and stuff. So you know, do you finally get the stupid deal done and bring in X-Men and Fantastic Four? I mean, you need.
It looked didn't they just buy Fox
That's
Studios?
what I thought. So then it's like, when does that get rolling? You know, you need Doctor Doom. Like you need somebody like that.
You need him to be dope too.
You
like,
need
he
him
can't
to
be
be
a whack.
serious.
Yeah, they have to get Final Four together.
Yep.
They got to figure that out.
You got to, like, soon.
Yeah,
soon,
exactly.
because or else you're going to lose momentum and it's going to be hard, I think, to pick it back up.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everything's going to come to an end.
Yeah.
And also what I appreciate about these shows and these movies, you know, you think about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You think about Gotham right now. Yeah, even Arrow on the CW. These shows are understanding when to end.
Yes.
You got to end.
You have to.
You got to go out on top.
Yep.
Game of Thrones said we're doing 6 episodes for the last season. That's it. We're getting out on top. We're gonna break all the records. Get out.
Right.
You know, Marvel had this plan for a year. They said it's gonna be at the 10-year mark. We're doing Infinity War, and we're gonna do one more year to bring in the next movie. We're gonna do it back to back. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to breathe. It felt like from Infinity War, Endgame. We're done. We're out. You know, Arrow said we're done next season. Gotham said we're done this season, and I think that's so much better to do instead of being forced out. Is you end on a high note, and then everybody knows and understands when you end, and they want it. You want to go out wanting more. You know, having people want more. But it doesn't mean that the universe is ending. Obviously, it's got to continue. I mean, Spider-Man comes out in July, so there's things coming and on the horizon. I just worry about where it's going without like an X-Men or Fantastic Four to really take it over.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so we'll see what they do. I don't know if they're gonna keep the current X-Men group and casting and, you know, continue to work with them, but just under the Disney umbrella, or if they're going to just say like, hey, we're gonna take a break for like 2-3 years. I mean, they probably won't even take that long of a break, but maybe 2, 3, 4 years, and then we're just gonna start fresh.
I think so, and see, I think that would be a great approach. Honestly, you got Star Wars coming out in December, so you got time with that. Disney's Disney. You know, they're rolling out Aladdin's coming in a few weeks. Lion King's coming. You know they're gonna throw probably Little Mermaid. We'll start to see them. Toy Story 4's Mulan's coming. So you got time with that. I think you do that. I think you end on this high note. I think you got Spider-Man coming. I don't think anything else is on the docket right now. I know Black Panther 2 is going to be, you know, obviously developed. Roll it out next year. Wait till next year and roll that out and start slowly rolling things out and then take some time. Do it right. Give us a chance because we got Dark Phoenix coming out under Fox. Give us a chance to miss them and forget about it for a second.
Yeah, they have to do that.
Roll it out.
Because I love X-Men. And I'm cool with even them doing a show or maybe even maybe an animated series again as X-Men has had 2 times before. But yeah, because X-Men is probably my favorite superhero group, so I want to see them do that right. I definitely want to see them do that right, and they're gonna have to. It's impossible to do it right without Wolverine, so they also have to give us time to miss Hugh Jackman as well, which I'm not over completely yet. So they have to. They can't throw someone else in there just right now. So we'll see what they do. In conclusion, probably the most touching superhero movie I've ever seen. It was great. I thought it was really good. What would you give? What would you give this on a scale of 1 to 10?
Probably 9.8, 9.9. I don't think there's just such thing as a perfect movie. You know, you can't play a perfect football game. No such thing as a perfect movie. I think it was really high up there. I think it deserves all the praise it's going to get. I know how the Academy is. I don't expect it to get nominated for any, you know, I wouldn't say not
maybe
worthy,
costume,
but it'll get costume, it'll get cinematography. I mean, maybe score. I thought the score was brilliant. Again, it was just a perfect way, I think, to end everything. Doesn't mean it was a perfect movie. Doesn't mean it was the best one. I think it was second in my opinion, maybe. And I mean, some people may not even have it that high. I think Infinity War, again, as a movie, was better. And again, it just had to do with everything surrounding it. We knew it was coming with Endgame. Like, we knew they were going to win some kind of way. We knew Quantum Realm was going to be in the fold. We knew Time Travel. Like, we knew all these things. With Infinity War, we knew nothing. We literally knew nothing. We knew purple dude from space is coming down to wreak havoc, and he's going to win in this one. That's the only thing we knew, was that Thanos was going to win that first round. But we didn't know everything from Iron Man's new armor with the nanotech all the way to Hulk getting beat down and then not coming out for the rest of the movie, to obviously the end with everybody getting dusted away and everybody just sitting there like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, I've never seen anything like before.
No, never in a movie. So that was great. I give it a 9.2. I think it's the highest rating I've given a movie on the podcast thus far. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great movie. Thought it was a great way. I mean, it's hard to not love it because of the fact that I didn't realize how much the film was going to mean to me personally. I was, under the mindset of like, okay, we got all these superhero movies. Like, come on, guys, let's like get to, they're just pumping out stuff now. And I'm like, wow, like I kind of needed this. Like, kind of wrapped up like a large portion of like my childhood and like growing up. I'm like, oh wow, like this is an important film. So it was big. Definitely would suggest to go see it opening night. Do you have? Spoilers and memes, being able to enjoy them fully, and then also because it's a great film. Upcoming movies. Do you have an upcoming movie?
I guess for this month, Aladdin is kind of on my list. I think I'll see it if I have time. The one that I'm actually excited for is Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I'm really excited for that in theaters.
I think a good trailer.
That's a really good trailer.
Had a good trailer.
The most recent trailer is really good with the Over the Rainbow.
Yeah.
I've always been a big, Godzilla fan. I love the other monsters. I love Rodan. I love King Ghidorah, Mothra. I like monster movies. I think Pacific Rim. I didn't see the second one, but the first one I thought was great.
Yeah.
I thought the first Godzilla movie in this universe is great. And they're creating a universe with King Kong.
Yeah.
I thought the King Kong movie was great. They hinted at all these monsters at the end of that, and they're after the credit scene.
Yeah.
And
Skull
now you
Island.
have Skull Island. Now you got Godzilla King of the Monsters coming up. So I think that in terms of this month, what's next? I think that's going to be the next movie for me that I see in theaters, because I just like monsters, smash them up.
Yep.
Break down the city movies, and obviously Millie Bobby Brown's in it.
Yeah.
So Eleven's in it. O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s in it as well. Coach Taylor from Friday Night Lights is in it. So it's got a great cast also. And I'm interested to see like where that universe goes.
Yeah, if they're gonna connect that. Brie Larson was also in Kong, by the way. Just throwing out there. Shout out Brie Larson again. I'm excited for Sonic the Hedgehog.
I am too.
I
am too.
I love the game and the cartoons growing up, and I was like, okay, what is this gonna be like? Are they gonna do good? And then I saw Jim Carrey was in it. I was like, I'm sold. Because Jim Carrey's one of my favorite actors of all time. So they have him as Dr. Robotnik, and I was like, yep, I'm in. I think
that, I talked to one of my friends from high school. He said it's probably just going to be a Flash movie at Sonic. I said, that's fine. Like, that's fine. I think Jim Carrey's going to crush it.
Yep.
Like, he's going to really, really sell the movie and really do a great job in the movie. And everybody complains about everything. They're like, Sonic's got 2 human teeth. And they're like, listen.
Yeah, like, whatever, man.
The trailer, I thought, was great. And it's like, you got to go in with low expectations.
100%.
That's how you do these movies.
He has real long legs, small torso. Yeah. I'm cool.
It's the same thing I did. It's the same thing I did with Power Rangers. I went in with low expectations, and I came out and said, you know what? That was a fine, cheesy Power Rangers movie.
Yep.
That's what I'm going with Sonic.
Yeah.
Low expectations. Want to see him run fast and run into stuff, and Jim Carrey to make me laugh, and maybe appearance from Shadow and Knuckles and the rest of the gang. Hopefully at the end. So I'm going in for it.
That's it. So. I think that's it. I think we covered it as best as we could. Obviously, we could go on talking forever about Marvel and the 22 movies leading up to it, but I think we'll stop there. Thank you all for listening. Again, check out the new website, itwtpodcast.com. Until next week, peace.